Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well and fine. So let's start a video today. In the previous ones we have discussed up till question number 70. So in this we will be discussing about question number 70 from question number 71. Okay. So which of the following concepts are not associated with scientific management? Firstly, we have mental revolution. Next, we have unity of command, rule of thumb, time and motion study, differential piece rate plan. And these are the five options we have, and we have the correct codes for it. That is 1, 2, and 4, 2, 3, and 4, 2 and 3, 1, 4, and 5, or none of this, which will be the correct one. See, accordingly, scientific management concept, if we talk about scientific management concept, it is one of the principles of management and it is also known as the classical theory, right? So this principle was propounded by Frederick Winslow Taylor, or F.W. Taylor as we popularly know in short, and we consider him the father of management. We all know that. He noticed that there were much disorder and wastage of human as well as other resources at workplace. The managers and staffs had no concept about systematic and efficient program of tasks, and all were following traditional ways of doing the work or doing the tasks. So he tried to remove these problems through the development of a new concept, and thus the scientific management concept was developed. And these concepts have a few basic theories in it, which I'm going to discuss right now to give you the insight. So firstly, it was the mental revolution. Now, Taylor argued that both management and workers should try to understand each other instead of quarreling for profits and benefits, which would definitely increase problems and it will lead to lesser production or profits and other benefits will be at stake. Next, he explained differential payment system. Under this system, a worker receives the piece rate benefit, which will attract the worker to work more for more amount of wages, and more incentives would be created to raise the standardization of output to promote the workers. And that is why that is how they will be producing more units and perform more tasks than before, and also utilize waste time to earn more wages. Next, you also explain the concept of time and motion study. Now, time and motion study, which is also referred as the motion and time study, the terms are used interchangeably. It is the scientific study of the conservation of human resources in the search for the most efficient method of doing a task. Motion and time analysis could be used to help find a preferential way of doing the work and could assist in effectively managing and controlling the activity, right? So accordingly, I will say 2 and 3 are the correct one. That is time and motion study, differential piece rate plan, which I just now explained to you. Mental revolution and unity of command was not under his scientific management. So accordingly, we have 4 and 5 as the correct option. Okay, it is asking which is not associated with scientific management. So unity of command is not associated and rule of thumb is not there, right? So accordingly, option number 3 will be the correct answer, since 2 and 3 are not part of scientific management, whereas others are. Okay. So next, moving on to question number 72. Which of the following are the principles of scientific management? So the principles of scientific management, and here we have the options: development of a science of work, different piece rate plan, standardization of tools and equipment, scientific selection of workmen, cooperation between managers and workers. So these are the 5 options that we have, and accordingly, as I discussed, option number 2 is the correct one, which has 1, 4, and 5, which is development of science, scientific relation or scientific selection of workmen, cooperation between management or managers and workers, right? So 1, 4, and 5 is the correct answer, but still I'll give you the insight to it. six principles that scientific management comprises were basically development of science for each part of men's job, that is replacement of rule of thumb. Okay, he replaced rule of thumb with this management. Then selection, training and development of workers, cooperation between the management and workers, or harmony not discord, that was the word he had been using, harmony not discord, division of responsibility, mental revolution and maximum prosperity for employees as along with the employees. The first three that I just now told you were clearly explained, which insight I'm giving you through the detailed discussion. See, first, development of science for each part of men's job, that is replacement of the rule of thumb. He replaced this concept of rule of thumb with this concept. This states that this principle suggests that the work assigned to any employee should be observed, analyzed with respect to each and every element and part and time involved in it. This means that replacement of the odd rule of the rule of thumb, which we were previously using, by the use of method of inquiry, investigation, data collection, analysis, and framing of rules. Under scientific management, decisions are made on the basis of facts and by the application of scientific decisions. Right? Next, if I talk of scientific selection, that is training, selection, development of workers, there should be scientifically designed procedure for the selection of workers. Physical and other requirements should be specified for each and every job. Also, workers should be selected and trained to make them fit for the job. Next, coming to cooperation between management and workers, or the word that he has been using was harmony, not discord. So Taylor believed in cooperation and not in individualism. It was only through cooperation he believed that the goals of the enterprise can be achieved efficiently. There should be no conflict between the managers and the workers. Okay. So accordingly, we have option number 2 as the correct answer, which is 1, 4, and 5. Next, moving on to question number 73. Yes, the Greatman theory of leadership led to the rise of the behavioral theory of leadership, the trait theory of leadership, the situational theory of leadership, only 1 and 3, none of this. So basically, it led to the trait theory of leadership. Now I'll explain you the details. The Greatman theory of leadership stated that some people are born with the necessary attributes that set them apart from others, and these traits and responsible these traits are actually responsible for the assuming position of power and authority. They are born with those qualities or traits. A leader is a hero who accomplishes goals against all odds or any odd situation that he faces for his followers. Okay, so this implies that those who are having the deservation or who deserves to be there because of the special endowment will be there. Okay, so then the theory continues that these traits that a person has remain stable over time and across a frequent time or for a longer period of time, and this refers to this is applicable for groups also. Okay, so he suggested that all the great leaders shape these characteristics regardless of when and where they will be able to exercise this or precise the role in the history that they have fulfilled. Okay, so prompted by the great man theory of leadership that we have, and the emerging interest is understanding that what leadership researchers focused on a leader. Who is a leader? What are the distinguished chances of or characteristics of a great efficient leader? This gave rise basically to the trait theory of our leadership. So we have the correct answer to be the trait theory of leadership. Next, moving on to question number 74. Hierarchy has been described as the scalar process by L.D. White, P.H. Appleby, Mooney and Reilly, Gulick and Erwick, or none of these. See, both Luther, Gulick, and Lindell Erwick were great synthesizers or people of the classical approach who gave strong theory for it, for administration. They fashioned a sense of principles to design and guide the organizations. Okay. For them, the scalar principle or the hierarchy must be observed, or authority breakdown. Authority involves the ability to require actions of others, and also it is the major principle of organization of any organization. According to them, the scalar chain would contain a clear lines of authority or defined lines of authority running throughout the organization. So based on this, we have option number 4 as the correct answer. That is, Galik and Orvik has been establishing this scalar process. Next, moving on to question number 75. Hierarchy consists in the universal application of the superior subordinate relationship through a number of levels of responsibility reaching from the top to the bottom of the structure. This observation is attributed to L. Galik, L. D. White, T. D. Mooney, Lyndon Ernst Sear, or none of this. So this answer is L. D. White. Okay, according to L. D. White, hierarchy consists of the universal application of the superior subordinate relationship through a number of levels reacting from the top to the bottom of the structure. That is hierarchy. Okay, what is hierarchy? Basically, it means the control of the higher over the lower, right? In administrative phraseology, it means an organizational structure in a pyramidal fashion with the successive steps interlinked with one another or with each other from the top to the bottom, right? So accordingly, option number 75, question number 75's answer is option number 2, which is L.D. White. L.D. White has been establishing or giving us this theory. Next, moving on to question number 76. Focus on social environment is related to unity of command, human relations, unity of direction, delegation, or none of this, which will be the correct answer. See, society is the human being in his social relations, and every human being is an individual embodiment of social relations, or we can consider him or her as a product of the existing social systems. Now, social environment comprises of how humans interact with each other and how human behavior is shaped by social structures, that is, groups, communities, organizations, etc. Social categories related to age, class, gender, race, etc. And social institutions including political, religion, education, etc. Now, human relations approach is based on the belief that a person's attitude, actions, and opportunities are shaped by all of these aspects in the society. Right? So, accordingly, option number 2 is the correct answer, which is human relations. So, I will mark this answer. Option number 2, human relations. Next, moving on to question number 77. The term general system theory owes its origin to Max Weber, or we have Taylor, Landorg von, or John A. Berg, or none of this, which is the correct answer, right? So the correct answer, this also you need to have insight to it. This is option number 3, that is Landorg von. And Landorg von was an Austrian-born biologist known as one of the founders of the general systems theory, which is the GST. Okay, so GST is an interdisciplinary practice that describes systems with interacting components and applicable to biology, cybernetics, and other fields. So he proposed that the classical laws of thermodynamics applied to closed systems, but not necessarily to the open systems, such as the living things. So accordingly, option number 3 is the correct answer, that is London bomb. Next, we have question number 78. Dash has been identified as the means of conferring authority from executive or organization unit to another, which is hierarchy, decentralization, delegation, staff, or none of this, which will be the correct answer. See, delegation is the devolution of authority by a superior person to his agent or subordinate subject to the supervision and control. According to Teddy, delegation means conferring authority from one executive or organization unit to the other. Thus, delegation is not essentially devolution from a higher authority to a lower authority. It can well be said from a lower to a higher authority as well, or even between equal authorities. Okay. So accordingly, we have delegation to be the correct answer, which is option number 3. That is delegation. Next, moving on to question number 79. Which of the following are methods of market new issues of securities? Listing of securities, jobbers and brokers, private placement of securities, privileged subscriptions. And we have a series of 4, such as 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, or none of these. Basically, 3 and 4 will be the correct answer. Previously also I discussed a similar kind of question, which is private placement of securities and privileged subscriptions. Okay, 3 and 4, which is 3 and 4. Now I'll give you the insight to it, the details why I'm saying 3 and 4. See, among the given options or the methods of market new issues of securities, they include private placement, the sale of securities to a relatively smaller number of select investors for raising capital. Okay, so investors involved in private placements are usually large banks, mutual funds, insurance companies, or any private individuals or pension funds, all this, right? So private placement is the opposite of a public issue in which securities are made available for the sale to the open market. Whereas coming to the privileged subscription, the issuance of new stock in which existing stockholders are given preference in purchasing the new shares up to a proportion of shares they already own. Thus, if I say an owner who is holding 10% of the issuing firm's outstanding stock will be permitted to buy up to 10% of the new issue at a special price below the current market price, which is a special advantage to him. That is why he is called the privileged subscriber, right? So accordingly, question number 79, answer will be 3, that is private placement and privileged subscriptions. Next, moving on to question number 8. Question number 80 says the maximum number of partners in a firm for a general business is 7, 10, 50, 20, or none of this. See, none of this will definitely not be. See, why? Because we have few options and which we are going to discuss right now. Partnership is defined as a relation between 2 or more partners or 2 or more persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business that is carried on by all of them or any of them acting on behalf of them. So the owners of a partnership business are individually known as partners and collectively known as firm. So the minimum number of partners must be 2, while the maximum number can be 10 in case of banking business, while it can be 20 in all other types of business. So accordingly, we have option number 4 to be the correct one, that is 20. So minimum is 2, but 10 for banking and 20 for non-banking. Since it's said for general business, we are marking this as 20. But if it was said about banking, we would have marked it as 10 was the maximum. So in this video, I have given you the detailed answers up till question number 80. So you can follow the next videos for the rest of the questions that will be discussed. And I hope you have understood everything well enough. So thank you for patiently hearing me out. Thank you. Stay happy and stay safe. Thank you.